Open it up.
What's going on, everyone? As you can see,
I got the LaCroix today.
this is where the show is at. It's another episode of the greatest sports show on the internet. As a matter of fact, the best show on the internet that you can find. This is Code One's Conversations. I go by many names. Hollywood Hair is the one that I've chosen for today. And I am joined by the sad, the depressed, but the beautiful still, Brendan, the Green Bod, Petrilli. Trilly, it's a day after, let's just call it what it is.
Is it a
The
day? Yeah, I guess
The
it is.
collapse. The
I don't know.
collapse.
I don't know if it's a collapse, but
The collapse. How are we doing through the collapse?
yeah. This is the first I've talked about it to
Yep.
anybody. I've gone MIA. I put out the video on the socials.
You
Make sure
went in
you
your
go
hole the
follow
way.
us. Yeah, well, I put out videos and stuff. It's but some like somebody else, but it's whatever.
Here we go. Here we
It's
go.
whatever. Get good numbies on there. Go check it out. Follow
Yep.
us, the cold ones. But yeah, today I can't do this twice. So this is going to be a cold one conversations and a BSP media crossover here. We're going to take this
The
quick
church.
opening segment and I'm going to post it there too. So if you're following on BSP media, go check out cold ones, BSP media, a little bit of that action here. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. You said to me like you seem worse than the Super Bowl. I,
Yeah, dude, I said that. I
like
mean, we get on this pre-show call, and you do, dude. You like the way that you absorbed the loss of that Super Bowl. You were sad, you were devastated, but you understood it. This, what I'm getting is, I mean, dog, it's like it's literally like your heart got ripped out of you, put back in, and then cut in half, and you watch someone else eat it.
Yeah, because you lost to Patrick Mahomes at the end of the day and Andy Reid, right? And this you lost to Francisco Lindor and Grimace. Like that's literally what happened, and it hurts because the Phillies are just they're in a weird spot now. They're in a really, really weird spot. You got a lot of guys making a lot of money for a long time
Yep.
on this, and they're all starting to get into their, 31, 32, 33-year-old seasons, and
Yep.
it's
It's
time to
big.
figure it out. They got to win, and you got guys. I'm not mad at Bryce Harper in the least bit.
You can't be. You
I'm
can't
mad
be.
at
He is your
everybody
savior.
else. I'm not
He is
mad
your
at the
savior.
starting pitching. I think everybody pitched well.
Mm.
Sanchez, Nola, Ranger was a dog in that last game, even though he was giving you a heart attack every single inning, but he was able to get his way out of it. And Wheeler, of course, it's just everybody else. Trey Turner, Casty had the big game too that I was there. Schwarber was brutal, other than the very first at bat of the series. And everybody else, the daycare stinks. The bench stunk. The bullpen fell apart
Hard.
so fast.
The bullpen died.
And it was just one of those situations where it was just like, you knew they were limping going into it, but you always thought like it's still there. We've seen
Right.
them produce in the playoffs and have big moments. Now they came up short the last two, the exact way that they did this year too, where the bats
Yep.
went absolutely cold. But you kind of were trying to throw that out of your head when you shouldn't. You shouldn't at the end of the day, because that's definition of insanity. And it happened again. The bats went cold. Nobody was able to knock Bryce in when he was getting on base. He had a terrible at bat in game three with the two leadoff walks and he strikes out on three pitches. Nobody could do anything. And it just sucks because like this team is so good and
So
so
talented. I mean,
so exciting for them just to kind of roll and die like that sucks because you saw it in game two, like, okay, fine, maybe they finally got their swagger back there. I was there. Go check out the vlog on BSP Media. The link's in the description. Like, it's one of the greatest games of all time. Of all time, Harry. The back and forths, it was absolutely electric. The crowd, and you're just exhausted watching that game. You're like, okay, all right, here we go. We think we finally got it. And then for guys to go 1 for 30 combined the next two games hurts. For me to sit at the Fanatic Studios for game 3 and 4, broadcasting it, the ESPN broadcast on our station, sitting there alone and just listening to it's 30 seconds ahead of the TV that I have and hearing it all happen. and then just having your heart just drop and then waiting that 30 seconds from hearing it happen and then finally seeing it on TV is an absolute eternity. And it's one of the most loneliest feelings that I've ever had. And you have your phone blowing up with cockroaches. They don't do anything when the Phillies do stuff. They hide. But then all of a sudden, whatever. Name of the game. It is what it is. It's gonna happen, but it sucks. It sucks. It
What I
sucks.
think is crazy, man, and this sounds like loser talk, but this is our show, so we can do whatever we want. It's the spin zone, and both of our teams are
There's
dead
no
down in the
spin
MLB.
zone right now, man.
Well,
The Phillies are in an
here is my
interesting
spin
spot.
zone. Here is
Like
my spin zone. Because you got to ask yourself, because I was having this conversation with a friend of the show earlier today. Does this happen to a team like the O's, and does this happen to a team like the Phillies? If the MLB did what they need to do and shortened the regular season. Because the truth of the matter is, what's crazy is that you've got teams that should be able to benefit from dominating week after week after week through the summer, the early fall, and then the late fall. But then because a team decides to get hot between August and September, that means that all of a sudden they can knock off guys that have been doing it week in and week out. Because if you take off 50 games from the year, you bring it down to 110. I'd love if the season was 100 games. Let's say
it's never gonna
110.
happen though.
No, it's never going to happen. But see, that's my point, though, because the idea that, for example, listen, all credit to him, KC kicked the Orioles' ass, but
The
nobody was
Mets
talking
kicked the
about.
Phillies ass.
But
Like
nobody was talking about KC the entire regular season. Here we're talking about the Yankees, the Orioles, the Guardians, and sometimes the Tigers. And so my whole idea here is it's crazy to me that a team who can suck for basically 120 days out of the season.
Kansas City didn't suck, but
They didn't suck, but they weren't a team in the American League that was like, wow, we really see them being a team that can knock off the Yankees. But they got hot at the right time right now, and they're playing well. Now they're down 3-0. My point of where I'm going with this, obviously, it's a spin zone, but you do have to ask yourself, it's like the idea that there's an opportunity for if baseball is about the long wait and the long struggle, then why shouldn't there be more of a benefit for that long wait and that long struggle? That's just my overall point.
no, I mean
Okay.
100%. And I think the biggest thing is just realizing that the Phillies took advantage of that the last 2 years. Like the way I feel and the way that these Mets fans feel attacking Philadelphia right now and popping their chest out is the way I felt with Braves fans the
Mhm.
last 2 years, where
Yeah.
you kicked their ass in the playoffs the last 2 years, right? Where they were the division, they won the division, they've been running the East for years, right? You come, doesn't matter. Playoff time, Phillies, bank, Braves, Phillies were kicking their ass. That's what the Mets did to the Phillies this time. I think the biggest thing now is seeing that is learning, okay, fine. You have the ups and the downs of the season, but you can't just start to rest guys at the end of the year like the Phillies were doing
Mm,
because you just can't flip it like that. That's not the way baseball works. It's having the guys healthy and playing at the top of their level and not sitting for weeks at a time,
I hear you.
kind of just going through the motions because the Mets have been playing playoff baseball since frickin' they went to London against the Phillies,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
They've had the best record since then because they had to, because they sucked so much, right? That they had to make it up and they've just continued it. You figured, all right, talent would win out, talent should win out. But the Mets made the plays, the Phillies didn't. That's just what happens. That's why you play the games. And yeah, I don't know. I don't got much more other than
So
that.
let's end it out on this. Let's talk about we're looking at the broad scheme of baseball right now, dude. You've got the series with the Yankees.
Well, here, hold on.
Look,
Let me finish the Phillies real quick
go
and
ahead.
I'll cut it for BSP. It'll be interesting this offseason. I'm not a big everybody's, oh, the Phillies are gonna get Juan Soto now. They're gonna blow up the
No.
daycare. That's outrageous. I would
Yeah.
love that. I would love Juan Soto on this team. But to run it back would be insanity too. You gotta hope that Painter comes up. You gotta hope that Hoffman figures it the heck out. You gotta hope that the hefty lefty bounces back after a season where he was up and down all year. You got to go out and you got to get a legit closer. to help these guys out at the back end. And
You're
you
not
need
thinking
to
about
get
getting.
you
You're
need
not.
to get some veteran pieces that fit. I don't think you need superstars. You need guys that have edge to them that aren't always buddy buddy. The thing they kept talking about this team was it's the best and most cohesive unit there is. I think that the team that they've had, right, in years, I think that played into them settling towards the end of the year, figuring, "Oh yeah, we got this, guys." Nobody was getting in each other's faces saying, "We got to step up. We got to be better. We have to get this turned around." And change our attitude or we're going to get our asses kicked. There was nobody in that locker room that was willing to say that to any of those guys because they were
Sure.
all too much friends,
Yeah, I
right?
hear you.
Even though you should be comfortable saying that to a friend, but there's nobody with an attitude like that on this team. Now, it can change the locker room up a lot, but I think you need somebody that's going to be able to do that. I don't think Bryce Harper will do that. He's kind of in a mode where
No,
he wants to be everybody's friend and he wants to go out there and make the plays, but
he
I
wants to be the city's mascot, literally.
old Bryce Harper had that attitude.
Yeah,
Bryce Harper now doesn't have that attitude anymore. Young Bryce Harper had that. He was fired up every single
yeah,
time. He'd get pissed off. This
yep.
Bryce Harper doesn't have it. This Bryce Harper's made a lot of great plays. I'm not mad at Bryce Harper, but you need somebody with some attitude and some edge that you thought Castellanos would, but he's too quiet. So I don't know, man.
You
It's
really don't think that it's time to let Schwarber go,
Schwarber. No, no,
or
no,
not
no.
Schwarber?
Who?
What's his name? Why can't I say
Castellanos.
his name? Yeah,
Castellanos.
Cassiano.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably, but his contract, he's got 2 years left, a lot of money. It would be interesting if anybody would take it with, he's like 31, 32 now. So it just moving guys around, it's going to be interesting.
See, listen,
The biggest trade pieces would be Bohm, it would be Marsh, it would be Stott, it would be Rojas, all the young guys, and I'd be
right.
okay with moving any of them, honestly.
But can I say something to you really quickly? And obviously, this is your team, and I'm always going to defer to you most of the time in baseball talk. But see, I actually think I disagree with what you think the Phillies should do because you've established that you know how to grow superstars and know how to grow talent. And I don't think that means you need to go get any more veterans. I think your issue is you don't have any real deal young bucks in that locker room, like, for example, a Jackson Holiday, a
Yeah.
Gunnar Henderson, who can make those older developed talents think to themselves, holy shit, I might not be in the lineup because of this kid.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so to me, what I think that you need to do is understand that obviously baseball is a completely different game than basketball. But look at the transition that the NBA's taken. The NBA was so top heavy for so long of superstar, 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 superstar. And then you saw what happened to KD, Beal, and Booker. They died on the vine because they didn't have enough back play to support them. And for me, dude, it's like this is where I think that the Orioles and Phillies are in two different spots. The Orioles need to let go of some of our young talent. We've got enough of it. And
Mhm.
we've got to go out and get a veteran. We've got to go out and get a guy who's been there before in playoff baseball and say, get your ass together. I get that you're
Yeah.
going to be in this league forever, but it is time to win. And they don't
Mhm.
have any of that because they're all 26.
I like that.
Your guys are
You need
all
somebody to push these guys that they
you
have
need
to step up
exactly.
or to be
Exactly.
afraid that they're going to lose their job. I like that a lot actually because you got Justin Holiday, you got Aiden Miller, you got Andrew Painter. They're all like 20, 21 years old though is the problem. And the
Right.
Philadelphia Phillies don't do that. They don't bring these guys up that fast.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
you have to push these guys because Bohm needs a kick in the ass. He's 28 now. He's not a daycare. He's not young
Mm-mm.
anymore. And he was one of your homegrown guys that you drafted in the first round and has been here the whole time. Bryson Stott drafted, brought up the whole time. They both teetered out this season. They had great couple years. They've been fading. They need a kick in the ass where, hey, you're not going to get $100 million like the rest of these guys because you guys haven't been producing enough.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
got other guys below you that step up. I like that a lot. I do. I do.
BSP. Hollywood featured on BSP.
Yeah.
Let's close it.
Shout out.
Let's close it. Well, hold on. No, before. This is going to be part of
Yeah, that'll be ended for
this.
BSB.
This is
Go
part
check out
cold
the
ones,
rest on cold ones now.
and this is a football show because we're in football season. But
And the
we do have
Eagles, we'll see. We'll talk about the Eagles. So go
they won
check
the bye.
out
They
cold
won.
ones. Dude, 10-point favorites against the Browns. That's crazy. This
I
team
know.
stinks. And
I
they're a
know.
10-point favorite. So do the Browns, but whatever. All
Well,
right,
here's
man.
my question to you, man. When we look at the space right now of playoff baseball, we've got the Yankees leading on the road, having to push right now, given that they lost in their own city, by the way, by 3 runs, which I want to get into.
Yeah,
But
that
they're
was
leading
ugly.
3-1 against the Royals right now. The Guardians are clearly sending it back to Cleveland. They're going to get it done. They win 5-4, series tie 2-2. LA had that huge game last night where obviously the Padres pulled it out, but LA showed that they're still feisty. I think my question to you is this: I'm rambling on and saying everything that
That
everybody already
Dodgers
knows.
Padres series is electric. I've
It's
been working
electric,
those games after the Phillies and like those it's big hit after big hit with
big hit.
superstar after superstar.
So this is my first question to you: A, who's a more dangerous team throughout the whole scope of the playoffs right now? Is it the Mets or is it the Padres? Because I went into this playoff, especially with the
Kittle
way,
touchdown, baby. Let's
yep,
fucking go.
with the way that they handled first
Live
F
bet
bomb of the
that
show.
plus 300. Let's get it. All right, we're back.
First F bomb of the show. I thought the Padres were the most dangerous team in baseball, but then I saw what they did. No offense to what happened with Philly. So my question to you is like, I don't think that the most dangerous team in the playoff right now is coming out of the American League. An American League team can win the World Series, but it's not the most dangerous team. The most dangerous team is going to come out of the NL. And my question to you is, where do you see that? Where do you see the momentum that San Diego has right now? And where do you see the momentum that the Mets have right now?
Yeah, the Mets just don't die, man. They just don't die.
They're here right now, dude.
They
They're
should get
here.
rolled by the Padres or the Dodgers. They should get absolutely rolled. They should have got rolled by the Phillies, but it is what it is. But this Mets team just doesn't die. They got Frank the Tank actually happy in life.
He's
Like you know
walking.
how hard that is?
He's walking.
KFC is actually happy. Like these guys are happy in their
Yep.
lives. How does that happen?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And that's what the Mets have been doing. Uh, Pete Alonso is just all of a sudden like having big hits. Like the guy's a loser. He's so cringy. That whole team is just a bunch of losers, but they're winners at the same time because they don't die.
They
They
don't
are
die.
cockroaches. If I was Mets fans, I would say, yeah, we are cockroaches. We don't die. Play into it instead of taking it as an offense, even though they should because they're cockroaches. But they don't die. But yeah, that Padres and those Dodgers, they're stacked, man. They got guys up and down. The pitching has been the issues for them. It's going to be an interesting game 5 tomorrow night. What happens?
Big time. Big
Because
time back
that's
in
the
LA
Mets are
too.
getting to sit back and relax now after
Yep.
having such a huge long run of it and where they haven't been able to breathe. And it'll be interesting to see if that is actually a good thing for them too. But yeah, I'm taking the Mets. I'm taking them. They're going all the way. Now on the AL side of
Really?
it,
See, I'm
yeah,
tipping my hat. I want San Diego to get it because of Machado.
yeah, yeah,
Out
but
of respect to Machado.
I'm saying it more as a jinx because everything I've said has been going bad lately. So let's go Mets. You can clip that. And that was another thing, dude. They took a screenshot of that where I was like,
Yeah.
for that video, fire video too. But
Yeah.
when they sent me that, like Phillies lose, I was like, all right, that's actually kind of funny. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I see, I can play along with stuff. Like these fucking losers, whatever. Another F
All
bomb.
right. All right. We're a clean show these days. Let's get into it. We're back. It's the NFL season.
Ooh, big
While we're
bomb.
recording right now, it's a Thursday night. George Kittle just
And
had a
then he's
touchdown.
just got a
Truly
big
live bet it.
touchdown.
It's
Laviska Shenault,
this is
big
this is an
touchdown.
in-division rivalry right now with a 2-3, San Francisco 49ers absolutely dominating. Well, as oh my,
Hmm.
are you seeing this right now?
That's what I just told you. He just got a big
Oh,
run
shit, I'm behind.
to the house.
Yeah, I'm behind.
Is that
To the
Laviska
house.
Shenault?
Seahawks just get a touchdown here on a kick return. That's the first punt return that I've seen for a touchdown so far this NFL
Oh, that
season.
wasn't a handoff. I just saw him running. No, I guess it was a kick. Yeah.
That was a kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wow.
that was off the Kittle touchdown.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so let's get into it, dude. Again, we were talking about this, in the pre-show. I don't understand right now what's going on with Vegas because I feel like Vegas is losing right now this year. How did the Vikings go into that game as only 2.5 point favorites? Because everyone and their mother who isn't educated on betting. Now, I went the wrong way, but more times out of 10, when you take the Jets in that position, when you take not the chalk on a game like that, it's because they're begging you to bet the chalk. And so the public loses. The public bet the chalk and the chalk won.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. This has been happening regularly with the Vikings too. I mean, we were talking about it week 4 when Jordan Love comes back. Green Bay was 3 point favorites and the Vikings smoked them. And everyone and their mother was betting the underdog because Jordan Love was just coming back. The Vikings were on a win streak. Why would we bet Green Bay to cover the 3? Let's just see that the Vikings could lose by 3. We'll bet them to cover. They won.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I mean, there's a lot to get into. I think that it's so. I have a theory that I do want to ask you really quickly before we get into it. This is more of less of a betting question and more of an NFL theory question, kind of going back to our WQSU days. Has the NFC reemerged with quarterback play? Is the NFC back? And is the NFC back to the level now that the AFC is in? When we look at that turn when Peyton Manning went to Denver, right? You had Peyton in the AFC,
I know what you're saying.
Brady in the AFC. You had Flacco in the AFC. You have Luck in the AFC at the time, right? You have Big Ben still in his prime in the AFC. Quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. And the only people really that the NFC had at that time, because Wentz, Wentz doesn't even get drafted at this point, is all you really had was Colin Kaepernick when he was healthy and Russell Wilson in his prime. And now all of a sudden, dude, you're looking at the broad scheme of the NFL and you're looking at the NFC and you've got Brock Purdy, who's been a very consistent quarterback, though he's a game manager, very consistent quarterback. You've got Geno Smith, who's playing very well and has gotten a legit contract. You've now got Jaden Daniels, who is very legit. You've got Caleb Williams, who could be an absolute legit superstar in this league. And then you still got your standard guys like Matthew Stafford, who, when healthy, I would argue no one is better in the NFC than this guy. You got Baker Mayfield now playing real deal football. And the list goes on, but that's my point. You go
You didn't
back,
say one guy, and I don't blame
well,
you for not saying him. I don't blame you. I was
I'm
waiting
not going to
for
say
it.
it right now
No, I agree with you. I
because
agree.
he's not playing that, but he is that guy too.
Uh,
I
yeah,
can't say I
sure.
can't say Purdy and not say Hurts. I can't say Purdy and not say Hurts.
Mm.
So my point of where I'm going with this is, dude, you go back 6 years ago, we were not having this conversation about the NFC. Is the NFC quarterback play back? Can it match the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomeses, the Joe Burrows? Is the NFC quarterback play here to stay?
I think the evenness of the NFC quarterbacks are stable, where the
Yeah.
upside of the AFC is still super high, but the floor is very low in the AFC too. Where you've seen Herbert and Josh Allen have a clunker last week, right? And you've seen
Trevor Lawrence
Trevor
die on the
Lawrence, Anthony Richardson and
yes.
Tua and Joe Burrow 1-4 now. You like the ceiling and the floor are very drastic for both. Where the NFC, it's more in the middle
It's more
where
contained. It's contained.
yeah, like the floor is higher, where
But the
if
ceiling's lower.
yes, it's not as the ceiling isn't as high. They're still very good, but they're not superstar levels. But maybe some of them are. We'll have to see. But the floor of those guys is much higher up and closer to the ceiling than it is for the AFC, where some of these AFC guys can just be straight up busts, where a lot of these NFC guys have gone through the motions and kind of figured it out through the NFL and has been in that stable ground of where a lot of these teams just need a stable quarterback. And you see the Vikings are 5-0 because they just
Yep.
needed a
A
stable
stable
quarterback.
quarterback.
And
Mhm.
you've seen, I mean, Gino, I've never thought they were that great, but we've seen them been able to compete last year and the beginning of this year. We'll see what happens in this game here, but
Well, dude, you got
been able
guys
to go through
now.
the motions and figure it out. Even Danny Dimes gets a win last week.
Dude,
You know,
golf. I mean, golf is here to
yeah,
stay. You
golf
got
been able to
like
figure it out. Yeah,
Jordan Love, Kyler Murray. I mean,
Kyler Murray bouncing back. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that
it's the first. My point is, and
they
I
give
forgot
you a
to.
chance. It's not just rollovers.
But again, 6 years ago, there was only three dudes doing that. And I
Yeah,
forgot to mention that the most important one in his prime at the time was Aaron Rodgers. It was Aaron Rodgers. It was
yeah.
Russell Wilson. Because the thing was that nobody was talking about Stafford until he got out of Detroit. No one was. They were like, yeah, he's a good quarterback, but is he really good? And we had this conversation a few weeks ago on the podcast. My point just being is that there was over half a decade there where we were talking about how big a difference is in the AFC quarterback play compared to the NFC. And now it just feels like that's no longer a thing anymore. But that's a little theory. Let's get into the games from this past week, and let's talk about my second theory, which now you're going to let me rant. We did BSP. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Say your thing.
Because
Talk.
honestly, Harold, I was at the greatest game of sports ever, live and in person on Sunday. I didn't get to watch much football. So you got to carry us here for this
That's
for
fine.
last week.
I want to get, well, first of all, let me just explain how good this game was before I get into my personal statement, my declaration of independence. This is my declaration of independence. But before we get to my declaration of independence, the Ravens Cincinnati game was so good, Trilly, that the NFL took the entire game and posted it to their YouTube channel.
Might have to go back and watch it.
I watched it last night at 11 o'clock. I watched the whole thing again. I watched the whole thing again.
I might have to go back and watch game 2 of the
I
Phillies
had
just to make me feel better. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So this is now my declaration of independence. And this is the quote that I want to make. And I want to be crystal clear with what I'm about to say. We are seeing the second Tom Brady right now play in the NFL. And who is that? That's Patrick Mahomes. But we're also seeing the second Peyton Manning play in the NFL right now. And that is Lamar Jackson. People do not forget that, yes, Brady won 7 rings, but no one ever disrespected Peyton, though he only won 2. No one ever disrespected that Peyton, that he didn't spend his whole career at the Colts. He had to go to Denver to get another ring. No one ever disrespected Peyton, that he got smoked in a Super Bowl. He's still considered in the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks of all time. But he was always overshadowed because there is one guy who stands above them all, and that's Brady. And I am here to declare there is one quarterback going forward for the next 10 years that's going to stand above everyone else, and that's 15 in red. That is 15 in red. But my declaration of independence is you are watching all at the same time the second best talent unequivocally play right now in his prime. Right now in his prime. The dude went and got paid and hasn't taken a step back. The dude went into Cincinnati, into a team where, by the way, where there's somewhat of a rivalry, there is no rivalry. Lamar Jackson is 9-1 against the Cincinnati Bengals and 4-1 against Joe Burrow. There is no rivalry. We own them. I want to make that crystal clear. There is no rivalry right now between the Ravens and the Bengals. We own them. And so the idea to me that still my guy, Lamar Jackson, doesn't want to be seen in that Peyton Manning light is ridiculous to me. When you're talking about a 2-time NFL MVP, when you're talking about a 2-time best regular season leader of an NFL franchise.
I mean, the guy's
Lamar
got his own
Jackson,
cast for Monday Night Football now. Like, you don't want that.
Lamar Jackson went into Cincinnati, owned their ass, didn't throw a single pick, and found every single ability that, okay, you want to shut down the middle? You want to make it so that we can only give Derrick Henry 15 tosses? Let me give it to Likely. Let me give it to Bateman. Let me make Mark Andrews. Let me let people know who Mark Andrews is. Let me let everyone know who Zay Flowers is again. Who number 4 is when he gets the ball and how he gets 7 to 15 yards after the catch. Let me show you what it's like when we put Patrick Picard and he throws it into the offensive line, and then you're able to give it to a Justice Hill. And if we want to let Derrick Henry go for yard and then set up JT, we didn't even talk about it. I didn't even have to post it. It was always 9. We never, ever disrespect 9. So I don't want to go on and
We're
on.
always hitting 9.
We're always hitting 9. I don't want to go on and on because I feel like my declaration of independence there was strong. But I'm going to leave it with this. We saw Tom Brady. Now we're seeing Patrick Mahomes. We saw Peyton Manning, and now you're seeing Lamar Jackson. And those two stand above them all. That's it.
Yeah. No, I mean, Lamar's a great player. It's never been a doubt. He's just got to win some playoff games at this point, and he will
It's the
be in
truth.
there. Like
He
that.
does.
That's what took Peyton had to do. He had to
Yep.
win one in Indianapolis, and then he went and won another out there in Denver. So that's just what it had to do. It
That's what
took
it had to
Peyton a
be.
long, long time where he was that butt of the joke is yeah, he can never win it. He'll never be Tom. And
He'll
then he
never be
gets
Tom.
himself a couple, and he's back in that conversation of all-time greats. That's just what's going to have to happen for him.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
no, yeah, I think it can definitely happen. But yeah, what my only question for this game is
Talk.
obviously I might have to go back and watch it. We aren't worried about the defense at all.
Not when the offense can score like that, bro. I
Yeah,
mean, when
I mean obviously yes, but
oh, but that's the truth, man. I mean, and now also don't get me wrong. Cincinnati's defense is terrible. They're atrocious. They're probably one of the worst in the league.
Mhm.
When we play the Steelers, it is going to be a much different game. If they shut down the middle and they shut down Likely, who now is taking that Mark Andrews spot, it's going to be up to Action Jackson to do what he did in week 1 against KC, which we ended up losing, I understand, but put the team on your back. Come to a literal toe of winning a game, right? But we've also seen now that Steelers' lack of offense has caught up to them, as we saw last week in this primetime game, where Dak goes down with literally 19 seconds left to go after an hour and 20-minute delay and win that game on the road in Pittsburgh, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you know that there's going to be inclement weather, it always goes to the worst team support, which was the Steelers. And the Steelers were leading that game the entire time.
Mhm.
But that lack of offense has finally caught up with Tomlin. So where I go with this, dude, is this is, again, the Ravens' DNA from last season is now fully implemented into this one. The season only started 3 weeks ago. We're 3-0 on the season. The Ravens are now a team that will guarantee you week in and week out 25 plus points. When I was growing up as a little boy, that was never a thing when Ray Lewis played for us. We were a 20-point and under team, always, always, outside of the year that we had everyone when we won the Super Bowl, obviously. So no, man. Yeah, I mean, when you have terrible defenses, you have a shootout. But I just want to restate there is no rivalry with Cincinnati. We own them. Now, let me take you through the rest of the game since you didn't get to say that. That was my statement. That was my Declaration of Independence. The Ravens are back, back, back. We're winning a Super Bowl. It's going to be a Bird v. Bird Super Bowl. That is what this show was founded on, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. The show was founded on not the Phillies, not the Orioles, even though we tip our hat, we love them. This was founded on Bird v. Bird Super Bowl. And that's what we're getting to. Now, dude, let's talk about it. Next biggest thing, we got to talk about the primetime game that happened at 9:30 a.m. I don't know where you stand on it, but I know where I stand on it. The Vikings are so legit. We saw Sam Darnold's one time where he doesn't play well, and they're still good enough to
They
get it
still
done.
win. That was big for
They'll
them.
get it
Yeah.
done. And on top of that, dude, the Jets make the worst decision in firing the one side of the ball that actually has been delivering consistently. How do you fire Robert Saleh after that loss? I'm not saying that you don't fire him, but I'm saying after that loss against one of the only teams left in the league that is at the time 4-0, one
Mhm.
of the only other teams that's undefeated, and you make their quarterback sweat and your guy can't get it done, so you fire the guy who's coaching the right side of the ball. How does that make sense? And again,
Yeah.
I'm an Aaron guy, but how does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't. You would think Hackett would have been the first one to go and then
Exactly.
see if the offense gets figured out. Salah has a chance to keep his job, but they just cut the head off. Like that's literally what they did. They just went right for the top and just see if we can figure it out from there. And they're kind of reaming. It's a Jets move, if we're gonna be honest, right?
That's never
Like,
happened before, though. They've never done that before.
but like for the Jets to be the first kind of team to kind of do that.
To do that. Yes.
Yeah. Like
100%.
normally
Yes.
it goes OC, DC, and then the head coach is gone.
Yeah. Yep.
Not head coach gone right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. And you're running
Or,
chicken
they
head
change
cut
up the
off.
play calling or whatever, and then the head coach is gone. This was just no changes. See you later, buddy.
See you later.
Like that's literally what just happened. And Yeah, it's definitely weird because yeah, that there's they now you bring the DC as the head coach now that has been a part of that good defensive core. It'll be interesting to kind of see where it goes because honestly, it seems like it's just Aaron kind of out there running his own
It,
stuff.
it also it makes no sense to me because I'm just going to say this. I was having another conversation with a friend of the show, a family member actually, who's a diehard Jet fan. What doesn't make sense to me, dude, is that Robert Sala's probably biggest chink in his armor for being a head coach was what made him such a good defensive coordinator, which is that he's a player's coach.
Hmm.
He loves his players. Can't really be that as a head coach, at least not at the level that he's
Yeah,
at.
you can't hug your quarterback on
Dude,
the sideline. He doesn't like it.
the guy who just got elevated to head coach is 10 times worse at that type of mentality than Robert Saleh ever was. If you watch those videos that the Jets were putting out this offseason, that their media team made in preparation for the season, the dude is acting like that he's on Michigan football team's roster of coaches. That he's
Hmm.
talking to a bunch of 18 and 22-year-olds. He gets so fired up with those guys, and that's great. But you can't be a head coach and how do you go and also like another thing that's insane? How do you fire a defensive coach who's all about player rah rah, and then you just put in the equivalent who has no head coaching experience, even more player rah rah as now your head coach.
Yeah, yeah, I don't
Again
know.
and again, I'll say it again. How is Bill Belichick still out of a job?
He's not gonna sign up for a team mid-season though. That's the only thing. That's just
Maybe
not. It's just never have ever happened, and I don't see him doing that.
If the Eagles fired Sirianni, I absolutely believe that if they offered that job to Bill, he would step right in
You know how many times I've had this conversation with people on the phones that want to try to get on the Fanatic? I'm like, dude, it will never happen mid-season. He is too smart. The way that you have to
well that
implement
yeah, I
things
agree
and
with you.
everything, it's just
Yeah.
so complex.
You're right.
It just you can't throw a coach in there and go, okay, here's a new 90 plays for everybody to figure out.
Yep.
Forget what we've been doing for the first 6 weeks. Okay, here you go. Here's a new 100 plus plays,
Yep.
terminology, everything, and expect to win. That's not how it goes. Should we have done it in the off season? Probably. If you're an I told you so guy that everybody loves to be, yeah, of course. You're probably right. But it just won't happen. It just doesn't happen. But
All right. Let me bring you through the rest of the games for this week.
go for it.
Let's talk about how Buffalo's dead.
The fastest minute in all of sports here.
The fastest Hollywood minute. Okay. Buffalo's dead. Buffalo's dead. I mean, dude, they're at home, and yes, they keep that game tight, but dude, you're at home the week before the Ravens destroy you, and you have Stephon Diggs come back into your home
This
and you
game was at
lose.
Texans.
Oh,
No?
you're right. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You're on the
Yeah.
road. You're on the road. Excuse me. You're on the road. You
But
get
Josh didn't play
squashed.
well from the numbers at least.
No, he played hard, but that's my
Yeah.
point, dude. That's my point is that
Oh
we're
my God,
seeing
9 for 30. Oh my
that Josh Allen like I don't understand the hype around this guy. Like he's a real deal quarterback. I get that. I'm not saying he's not, but he is not in the class of the elite. I'm sorry. He's like Josh Allen to me is not better than Matthew Stafford. Josh Allen to me is not better than Joe Burrow. Josh Allen to me is absolutely not better than Lamar Jackson.
In what way?
In
Like
every way, in being a quarterback, in being able to
in
retain talent to want to come to you, dude. You've got guys now who are signing in Baltimore, because they want to win. If he's that good, why didn't Derrick Henry go to Buffalo? If he's that good, why hasn't
uh,
Devontae
uh,
Adams signed to go there?
that's an interesting. All right, keep going.
Because it's not happening. If Jamal again another, I didn't even get to say this in my opening address and in my Pledge of Allegiance and in my State of the Union. But you look at a guy like Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase doesn't get signed. He's going somewhere, dude. He wants his money and he's going somewhere. I don't think that he's going to Buffalo. That guy might be the best arm talent in the nation right now, but guys aren't signing there. And CJ Stroud, who's been arguably rocky the last 2 weeks, beats you with your old guy.
That could also be an organizational thing too, where they're kind of going through a little bit of a not a rebuild, but a retooling where they let go of some guys where they're
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
and
my
that makes
point,
me nervous for my guy Sean McDermott up there, LaSalle alum. Boys will be
my
boys.
my point of what I'm just trying to say is the way that these guys talk about Allen. If they didn't talk about Allen like that he was the equivalent of Patrick Mahomes when he hasn't, by the way, even been to a Super Bowl, I wouldn't be this intense about it. But they talk about it like he's been to 3 Super Bowls and he's lost them, but he's right there on the cusp.
Uh,
They talk about him like he has played like Big Ben and won Super Bowls. He hasn't. Big Ben did. He hasn't even been to one, dude. So that's it for that fastest minute. Okay. Now let's hit the next one.
him and
Denver.
Lamar are in the same area.
All right, moving on. But no MVPs. No
Yeah,
MVPs.
yeah.
Okay. And at some point, again, that's got to mean something. If you haven't won a Super Bowl yet,
Yeah,
what have you won? MVPs.
yeah.
Thank you. God
That's
bless.
what I'm saying.
Okay. Denver, Vegas. Great win for Denver because it's an in-division rival, but this Vegas team is bad, dude. I mean, we're seeing more and more the reasons why Devontae Adams
Yeah.
wants out of the
Does
system.
that Denver team actually have some life?
No, absolutely not. Not at the rest of the AFC. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't think so. That's all I got to say about that game. San Francisco, Arizona. Arizona is feisty, and I think I'm going to be the early proponent to say it. I think that San Francisco's window is closed. I think it's closed.
Hey, I mean 23-17 right now in the third quarter.
I
The
think it's
Seahawks
closed.
are making their way back in this game. It'll be interesting how it plays out, but I don't hate that.
I want to go on record in saying that this was the year where if San Francisco was going to get it done, it had to be this year because you're going to be possibly paying Purdy
Yeah.
$60 million. You got more and more guys who are going to want bigger and bigger deals. You got Trent Williams already on the payroll. You got Debo already on the pay, or excuse me, you got Kittle on the payroll. You're going to have to give Debo a big part of the payroll. CMC, you've got to keep him on the payroll. It's like this is the year to get it done. And dude, the way that I mean, again, the statement's been proven that Brock Purdy's a game manager. You're telling me that when you just have Brennan Ayuk and you just have George Kittle, you can't win a game? Dude, Lamar Jackson didn't have that for the first 3 years of his career. He didn't have anybody besides Mark Andrews. You look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts didn't get Jalen Brown until a couple years later. Didn't get Devontae Smith
AJ
until a
Brown.
couple. That's what I said, AJ Brown.
No, I thought you said Jalen, but it's all keep wrong. Keep
No,
wrong.
Jalen Hurts didn't have AJ Brown
Yeah, okay.
until a couple years in. He didn't have Devontae Smith until a couple years in. Talking about guys who were already winning, and you're telling me that you've got the Swiss Army knife of offensive talent, and you're scraping to get wins done. You're losing to Arizona, a team that's been riddled with injuries basically all of Kyler Murray's career so far in the NFL. It's nuts. Dude, I feel good right now. These takes are strong.
You're rolling. You're
I'm rolling. All right, on to the next. Green Bay, LA. LA is dead. And once again, my number one picks for the
Yeah, 1 and
NFC.
4. You were high on them,
I
man.
was high on them this
They
year.
were
I
gonna
was high
take
on.
down the Niners. They were gonna win it.
They were my NOLA
NFC
pick.
favorite, maybe. Like,
They were my NOLA pick. They were
uh,
my NOLA pick from last year. Now this year,
gotta
Green
mark
Bay's.
that down for next year.
Yeah. We got to. What's Harry's NOLA pick?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think it sucks. Again, a team that's just been absolutely riddled with injuries. I mean, you look at it. You don't even have Cup out there
They've actually been terribly riddled. Like these guys are gonna be out for
since
a
week
long,
one.
long time. Like,
Since week one,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's a difference between this 49ers team where they still have some talent still there. When the Rams lose talent, they got nothing behind it. When the 49ers lose talent, you still have Jawan Jennings. You still have, the
Correct.
other guys,
Yep.
Juszczyk, even if you want to run the ball with Mason maybe be out in this game now, right? Like, and
Yep.
you have Mason, who's a great running back. You have so much talent on that team. This Rams team, you lose guys, you still don't have that high end talent. So, yeah, there's a difference. But keep going. Sorry.
Okay, on to the next, dude. Let's talk about it. What is up with that Giants win last week, dude?
I just don't think the Seahawks are very good, and I've been saying that.
Well, that I agree with, but at the
And I
same
took
time,
the
dude.
Seahawks because I didn't think the Giants were good, and they made me look like an idiot. I hate that.
So here's my question to you, though. Again, going back to theory, less about the game. Do you think after this week the Giants are going to feel more comfortable at the end of season that if they only win 3 to 4 games, firing Dable, given that the other NYC team already pulled the trigger and kind of They took like the Jets took.
They're not firing Dable after a win like that, though.
No, 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 no. I'm not saying
No.
midseason. I'm saying the end of the
Oh.
season. If the Giants only get 4 wins, let's say this year, or
Oh, okay,
five,
okay. I got you.
when
I
the
got you. I
other
got you.
team across the street
Got you.
already took the
Got you.
wind out of everybody's sails,
They're looking
two
for
or
a
more.
big time head coach. Are they going to ride with Dable? I know what you're saying. Go ahead.
Do they do that? So my question to you is like, I think that now because Salah's gone and they don't have to be
Yeah.
the first ones to do it, I think that they're going to jump on it first second they get. If
Well,
that,
and then you're gonna be like, if Bill or Vrabel goes to the Jets, it's to be like the Giants fans are like, why didn't we get one of those guys? Why is he
yep,
going to the Jets? Yeah, you're gonna have to
yep,
compete for that. No, it's
yep,
definitely interesting. We only went what 5 wins this year. Why didn't we get rid of them earlier? Why didn't we
exactly.
to be able to get these guys? Yeah, no, it's interesting for sure. Well, if the Giants win, we'll talk about them coming up in a little bit. If they win this upcoming week against the Bengals, it'll be interesting. This division went from like a kind of I thought the Eagles were going to roll through it. That the teams are feisty. They're not great, but
Very,
but teams are feisty.
very, and we're going to get into Dallas in a minute and Washington, but first let's get another absolutely terrible game. I don't care if it was high scoring, terrible game, two terrible teams. Indianapolis on the road to Jacksonville. Jacksonville finally gets a W, 37-34.
Shout out the Jags. They needed it.
They they needed it, dude. They're
Joe
your Super
Flack
Bowl
though,
team.
he still got it.
I'm gonna say it again, dude. Devontae Adams would not be asking out of Vegas if the Raiders were to listen to this show and done what I told them to do. Go sign
Flack.
Joe Flacco. Go sign Joe Flacco. Because Joe Flacco, if he's got the right people around him, can get you to a deep playoff run. Joe Flacco right now, dude, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Joe Flacco has enough talent still in the tank that if he had the right pieces, he could win a Super Bowl.
I'm
He
not
could
gonna
win a
say
Super
no.
Bowl.
I'm not gonna say no.
He could win a Super Bowl. Okay. Dude, first of all, Cleveland, Washington. Before we talk about Jaden Daniels, let's this topic has been spent if you've been watching First Take, but let's get it out of the way. What's the likelihood? What's the real deal likelihood that Deshaun Watson is going to get cut after this season and that ownership is going to take instead of a
Just
$180
eat
million
it.
hit, they're going to eat just the eight. If they retain him this year and they just let the ship go down, it's the difference between they cut him today, it's a 180 million hit. If they cut him at the end of the season, it's 80 million. What is the possibility that they still take that $80 million hit? Because, dude, this is a team
It
like no
depends where
joke.
you are. They got their draft pick, right? Like it's not like it's with the Texans, right?
Like I'll
They're
say,
through all that.
I'm
Like
just
if
gonna say
they
yes,
lose out, will they have a number one pick to be able to take a
yes,
quarterback?
yes,
Then maybe they just eat it, build young again.
yes. Because I'm going to say this, and I can't believe I'm going to say this. I would have never, if you told me that this was a possibility in the offseason, I would have called you a liar and I would have bet my rent payment on it against it. What I'm about to say, listen to this, Shrill. If you told me that there was a possibility that the New York Giants could have a better regular season than the Cleveland Browns this year,
You were very high on the Browns too.
who wasn't? Who was it in their right mind when you look at it?
I wasn't high on the Browns the way you were.
You
That they
didn't
were going
think,
to be. I mean, they them and the Bengals are even. You were much higher on the
oh,
Browns than the
yeah, no.
Bengals.
And by the way,
Yeah,
how right was I about the Bengals?
I guess a little bit.
How
Yeah.
right. I told you I'm not worried about it. If,
Mm,
ands, or buts. Don't
mm.
forget that. Talk about my wins as well.
You were right
Okay.
on that.
Dude, how legit is Jaden Daniels?
He's good. He's good.
Dude, he's playing better than CJ Stroud did his rookie season.
He's very good. As somebody who has him in a lot of fantasy leagues, he's very good.
Do you?
You could feel it coming the way he played at LSU. He was a different type of mold. He's not just a scrambler like that. He
No,
can sling that
he's
rock.
got such a real deal arm, dude. Such
And
a real deal
and the
arm.
Commanders have had some talent there over the last couple of years where you even saw Carson Wentz have some flashes the first couple games that he
Yeah.
was there because you got
You
some
saw Sam Howell
weapons.
have some flashes, dude.
Yeah.
Sam Howell.
Yeah. So you knew that there was some potential possibly there. You got rid of all the old bad stuff that you've had there. They still need a new stadium, but the culture is kind of changing there a little bit, and I don't like it.
What is a worse and sadder situation, Cleveland or Miami right now? Because
Cleveland.
God, did both teams, you think so?
Yeah. You
Both
can't
teams
do
are
anything
supposed to
about
be.
injuries. Tua gets
Yeah.
hurt, it is what it is. You're
Yeah.
you're watching Deshaun Watson. This might kill me this week. I gotta tread lightly. But you're watching Deshaun Watson out there every single week, take every single snap, and just completely suck. At least Tua, you can be like, well,
I
he
gotta
got it
be careful.
like because the Eagles play the Browns. I
I
got
know, I know, I know, I know. And you're 10-point favorites, 10 and
yes,
a
I
half point
hate it. I
favorites.
hate it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I get you.
Why?
I
After
get you.
everything I've been going through these fucking couple weeks, he can't. You can't make it. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, you're watching. You see Johnny Fanta, a big Browns fan, just week after week after week. Just watch this guy. You have no hope. You have no excuses. You're just saying like we just absolutely screwed the pooch here. Tua, you've seen the flashes. You've seen the potential.
Yep.
He there. It's just his brain. He doesn't have the mental toughness, as we like to say at Susquehanna University Rugby. You know.
Dude, that's the other thing, man. I mean, just do you think he comes back?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't
Okay.
think he should, but I think he
No,
will.
I totally agree as well. Uh Chicago gets it done against a bad team. That's all I got to say. I mean, Caleb threw for 304 yards. That's great. He
Yeah, they
finally
needed that. They needed that
they
confidence,
did.
and they did. If they
They
would have
did.
struggled in that, then it would be like, oh, Bears. But
Yeah.
they're finally starting to build a little bit there. Caleb throws for 300 yards. Yeah, interesting.
And I'm going to end it off with this to hear about another Harry win and another incredible Harry take. I'm getting tired now with everything I've been putting out on this mic. Can you now fully understand how legit Kirk is and why you should feel okay, though it sucks? You did not lose to a bad team. You
Yeah,
did not lose to a
it's
bad quarterback,
put
dude.
up a lot of points, a lot of yards.
Dude, a lot of points, a lot of yards. OT gets it done.
Yeah,
I mean, Kirk, like Atlanta, dude, in my opinion, right now could be one of the most dangerous teams in the league
they're a good team.
because when they are on, they are on. They're on, dude. And it looked like Tampa Bay was going to run away with it on the road. It really did. Not run away with it per se of like scoring, but like, wow, they got this game under control right now. They're going to get it done. And Kirk handled business. All right, last thing, dude. Let's talk about it. What is KC just going to go 16, 17 and 0?
They keep just figuring out ways to win. They aren't making mistakes, I feel like, is the biggest thing.
No, none.
Yeah. And that's the scary thing. Like if they don't make mistakes, they should win every football game because their defense is really, really damn good. And Patrick Mahomes not making mistakes, getting the ball, will be able to, if it's close enough for him, we'll make the plays to get it done, you know?
I don't understand how they're doing it when
Oh, you are tying yourself out today.
I told you. I don't understand how they're doing it, dude, when you look at their offensive talent now, and it sucks. By the way, I told you Kareem Hunt was going to score, and he did. I mean, dude, once again, dude, Travis had some big pickups. Don't get me wrong. He had a great game, but he
He didn't get
can't
in the
find
end zone.
he
Yeah.
can't find the end
Yeah.
zone. He can't find the end. So that's my point, dude. Like
Mhm.
their guy, and you lose Rice, right? You're dependent on Juju now to be your guy, and they're still winning games.
Yeah. It's Tom Brady-esque of just
That's why I said what I said. That's why my State of the Union was my State of the Union. It doesn't matter who you have. 15 in red is going to win. It didn't matter who 12 in blue had. He won.
yeah.
So yeah, dude, it's crazy.
All right.
It's crazy. All right,
We'll take a quick break and we'll get to our picks in a second here.
sounds good. I'll go get a polar.
We're back. Better than ever. Here to give you the best picks for what are we in? Week six.
Week
Week
six.
six.
This is
The
where
birds are back.
the men stand out here. This is where, because you're getting into that time now where teams are getting real deal bye weeks. Both dude, Chiefs Vikings got buys this week, early buys. I hate how late the Ravens buy is. But this is where a lot of teams are going to show their face, big time. So I'm excited for it, man. I'm very excited for it. You ready?
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay. All right.
I was
Let's
looking
get
at
no,
the
no, no.
lines. The lines are
Yeah.
interesting. The total points are very low for a lot of games.
For a lot of games, and then the ones where it's super high, I'm like, I understand
I,
why they're baiting you to do it, but like
Yeah.
That Commanders Ravens game, dude. I mean, I got to tell you, I get why it's 51 and a half. Both these teams can achieve it. But if
Yeah.
I was going to bet that game, which I'm not, I would take the under because
Mm-hmm.
both teams have just been selling each week. They got to have a
Yeah.
setback at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start out with my first pick for week 6. Um, and I think that this is just really simple. I think that people should understand why I'm taking it. Um, I don't think that there should be any ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's Buccaneers minus the 3.5. I mean, Derek Carr's out. Baker loses that
Yeah.
game. He's going to have a fire under his ass. Tampa Bay's the real deal.
Spencer Rattler doesn't do anything for you.
No, no, not at all. Not against the way that Baker is playing because Baker is legit right now. He's dangerous.
Yeah. No, I like
Tampa
that too.
Bay.
That's an earthquake.
I'm digging it.
They're the best. I've been watching them on Friday nights,
Oh my gosh.
like every week now. Like where I've popped it on every once in a while, but I like it's like point of TV for me now, and it's fantastic stuff.
Dude, they are, and dude, Stu is getting worse.
Yeah.
Just make that clear, like significantly worse.
He's the best. I love Stu.
Hit us with your second pick, Tro.
What? Yeah, my second pick, we're going. It's interesting. Drake May is finally getting the start up there in New England.
No
Does he
way.
does he actually give that team some life? I think not. I'm taking the
Thank you.
Texans 6.5.
So let's talk about that game real quick, dude. Why did again a team that didn't listen to the best show on the internet, Cold One Conversations, dude? Why are you putting your draft pick through this? Why wouldn't you let your seasons? What are you trying to get out of this? Is my question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they're trying to get out? Because you're not going to make a playoff berth. So what does it matter? If anything, you want to get a better draft pick, and why wouldn't you want your guy to see a full like when you know that you're not going to make a playoff berth? Why would you push your guy up? If the Patriots were legit saucy and had a few more wins, and it was like, okay, maybe we get a wild card spot here. Okay, I get it. But what's the thought process behind bumping this guy up?
I think it was in the locker room. They've seen Drake May play, and they're just like, this guy can do it. If the players think they can do it, you have more confidence out there on the field, where then Jacoby Brissett hasn't really thrown any passes to wide receivers at all.
Yeah,
It's all
at
tight
all.
ends and running backs.
Yeah.
So like they've gotten to a point where like, hey, this guy can actually sling it. It might not be in the best interest of him right now, but I think it's a little bit more of a I don't know how to say it, but like the players kind of made that decision. I feel like where
Okay.
Mayo was a player, he's gonna be a player's coach, and he definitely has been there. But I mean, he played with Tom Brady for a long time, so he really doesn't. Does he really know that those struggles at quarterback, having a bad
No.
quarterback? But
No.
yeah, it's interesting. I feel like you're kind of putting him out there to fail and kind of set him where you would want him to be able to grow from this experience. I don't know how much he can actually grow because if he goes out there and he learns some things this year, that'd be great. But if
Yep.
you can set him back a big time also.
Okay. Next.
But yeah, I like
Next.
the Texans.
Okay. Next pick for me, Browns Eagles under 42 and a half.
You're
I
going the
think
under.
I'm going the under, dude.
Why?
Uh,
Talk me through it.
because I think that the Eagles, when they get a line that big after the way that they've played, they can't show up to it. I don't. I
Yeah,
think it's going
them
to be.
getting that is crazy.
It's
Not
very
even. I
crazy.
get off a bye. Sirianni's form one off a bye. Yada yada yada. The guys are actually healthy. Lane, Devontae, AJ are healthy. They're
AJ's
back.
back.
Yeah, they're all back. Yeah.
That Cleveland defense, dude, still is though no
I
joke.
don't think that's why I would take the over because I don't like the Eagles defense that much either. So I was leaning the over.
We going opposite on this?
I was, but if you're gonna go the under, I won't touch it because I wasn't planning on touching it.
Yeah, I'm going under 42 and a half.
All right. Because I just want to sit back and root for points for the Eagles at the end of the day because I
I
think they
get you.
should dominate this Browns team. Where I was
Mhm.
saying I need to be careful the way I've been talking a lot lately, too much confidence and it's just been biting me in the ass. Because if the Eagles lose to Deshaun Watson and they make him look like how Kirk Cousins did, how Baker Mayfield did,
Yep.
how Jordan Love did, where they were just picking apart this defense, it's gonna be rough for your boy at 1 o'clock.
I
It's
hear
gonna
you.
be rough. That can't happen. This young defense has to start to get it together. The pass rush. I mean, let's start. I'm not even gonna ask for a sack. Let's start with a tackle from Bryce Huff this week. You got a little bit of a break. We just want to tackle. Get on the stat sheet. I don't even need a sack, a tackle, maybe two, and we'll see from there. But yeah, if Deshaun Watson is picking apart this defense, it's gonna be. It's gonna be
Dude, just to jump back in real quick, are we seeing right now how bad this 49ers team is?
what do you mean?
Dude, see, the Seahawks have plenty of time to get this game under
They got a
control, dude.
chance. They got a chance. That's what I was
Like
saying.
plenty. I mean,
Yeah.
they just had a great punt here, but still 23-17 with 9.5 minutes to work with and all three timeouts. See, and by the way, 49ers only have one for the rest of this fourth quarter. All right.
I like those jerseys for the Seahawks, by the way, and
They're
how it
so
looks on
sick.
the field.
They're
I
so
like
sick.
the logo on the field looks good.
Um, I'm going to go another next pick and then I'll let you go. Bears minus the 1.5. They're at home against the Jags. They had a big win. The Jags put up 37 last week. They absolutely cannot do that back-to-back weeks. I don't think the Jags will score more than 13 points because of how good this Bears defense is. I think that anybody can get after Caleb Williams, given how bad that offensive line is. But his talent, what he showed, what he can do against bad teams like the Carolina Panthers, what he will do against the Jaguars, and how great that defense is. Give me the Bears all day minus the 1.5.
Yeah, it's an early game. Oh, it's out in London too.
Yeah,
All right, it'll be interesting to see. The Jags love playing out there in London, though.
they do. Doesn't
Not
faze me.
scare you?
Not at all, dude. It would scare me if they didn't put up the points that they put up last week. The Jags had walked out in a 17-14 game. Yeah, I'd be scared because I think that they could go off. Dude, they're done, dude. They shot their gasket. 37 points.
Does Big Cat calling it a must win for the Bears? Does that scare you at all? For him to get
No,
his
I think
number
it's got to
down?
be a must win, and I think how talented that defense is, they can fulfill that outlet. The truth of the matter is, dude, we saw this pretty much in almost every game the Bears have played in. Caleb is going to get multiple opportunities just because of his defense, not even just
Yeah, their
because of the
defense is
changing
very
guard.
good. Yeah.
Like they're going to get multiple more opportunities,
Hmm.
and honestly, I do think that his talent is better than Trevor's. I do.
Okay. Okay.
You got the next pick, bro.
Um. Yeah, I think I got two, right? I don't know. But next one, I'd feel a lot more confident if Joey Flack was starting at this, but I just don't think the Tennessee Titans are very good. So I'll give me the Colts
I love that. That's the
as a
ugliest game, by the way,
underdog.
of the week.
I
Ugliest game
know,
of the week.
so ugly, but underdog 3 points. Even if Richardson struggles a little bit, I think they'd have a quick hook to put Joe back in if
I
they
hear
feel
you.
like they can win that game. And I think
Yeah.
Joe can get you in that game.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Joe
So
will win that game.
them catching three, I like that a lot.
Honestly, if Joe, do we know for a fact that Joe's playing?
I think it's at Richardson. I mean, he's active. He's not hurt. So I don't know if I haven't
See,
seen
if Joe was
who's
playing,
starting.
if Joe was playing, I think that we'd probably pick a Colts receiver for the parlay. No joke.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that. Let me I'm clicking on their thing.
I'm
I
going to
mean,
go
the
for
Titans are coming off a bye, but I mean, the Titans team really
terrible.
it doesn't do much for me. You know, Will Levis is just he's an interesting fellow, and but I don't know. My fourth pick, we were saying it. You've been laying off betting the Ravens. I've been betting the Ravens. I've been winning betting the Ravens. I'm gonna take them again. But I'm gonna buy a half a point. I'm going 6.5 instead of the 7. So give me Ravens 6.5.
No,
I think
FanDuel's got him at 6.5.
oh they do?
Yep. FanDuel's got him at six and a
I've
half.
changed up the book a little bit. Some another book gave me a deposit match in the email,
Ooh.
so I flipped over. I'm giving it a shot. Got the 50% match, so we're gonna see what happens. We hit
Eh,
the Kittle on the live bet that they gave me too, a free bet. So we'll see. It's been good on this book so far.
What are we up right now?
What?
Triple dig?
Well, we're using the money that we just hit. We're gonna use it for these bets now. So
God
because
bless.
before I was thinking about it, right? Normally, the stupid thing, right? I'll take our picks, I'll throw it in a parlay, and maybe I'll bet them separate. I'm gonna just bet them all separate. You know, 5, $10, whatever your
Yep.
unit is.
Have to.
You know, and just bet them all separate and just see how it goes from there instead of all clunking them in together. And then I'll still clunk them all together too, if because we were planning on going 5-0, but
Because you have to. You have to, out of
we're
respect.
gonna try to be a little smarter with this year. So getting up big on that Kittle touchdown gives us that flexibility. Plus the deposit match is nice. So
I think the best old man game for my final regular pick for my card, best old man football pick, Chargers v Broncos. Jim Harbaugh versus Sean.
Yeah, I
This
looked at
is
that
a
game actually.
coaching showdown, and I got the
Yeah,
Chargers all day minus the 3.
you like that?
I do.
I was looking at that too.
I do. I
Yeah,
feel like that this is a Michigan Ohio State game.
yeah.
That's what it feels like. All right, our certainties. That sounds so good. That sounds so good.
Our certainties. I've been debating this in fantasy football. I got Jaden Daniels and I picked up Kirk Cousins because Kurt's been slinging the rock. And this matchup for Kirk Cousins, I feel like should be a way for this offense to keep rolling. Falcons -6. I feel like that should be
Ooh,
easy for
I
my
like that.
certainty.
I like for your certainty ALT minus the 6. Well, dude, I might have been giving him a hard time this whole time, but we're going prime time and we're talking about a man who owns another team the same way that Lamar Jackson owns the Cincinnati Bengals. Josh Allen on the road minus the 2.5 owns the Jets. The Jets in their own house after firing Robert Saleh. They're not coming back. They're going to lose to a team that's owned them week in and week out almost every year of the season. Bills minus the 2.5. It's an absolute certainty.
Like it. All right.
Okay, dude.
You want to do our touchdown scores?
Yeah, if they'll give them to us this time.
Yeah, I got some. I got some.
Let me pull up mine.
I'm looking at one of the 425 games that we didn't really talk about. I think there should be a lot of points. I'm
All
thinking.
right, talk to me. We're talking about the Lions, that Lions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lions, Cowboys. And I'm looking
Yep.
at some guys that scored touchdowns in that game.
I'm thinking I'm thinking of Marcy. I think we got to go the plus
Amon
money.
Ra. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was looking at too.
Yep.
100%.
Good. All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Do we go? Do we
I think we
go?
go that Falcons game.
Do we
But
go that
who?
Falcons game or do we go that
Do you think
that
Bijan
Cincinnati
gets in there?
game? That Cincinnati game though.
Cincinnati? Who you like? Talk to me.
Can you get the but why can't I get the touchdowns on this?
Oh, Monday night.
No, no, Sunday night.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I got
Cincinnati.
him. I got him on FanDuel.
I'm on
Not FanDuel.
FanDuel.
Not FanDuel. DraftKings. DraftKings. That's what I'm on. So I moved over.
All right. I
They
guess
were
you're
they
going with
were
the
throwing the
Barstool
house
guy.
at me. I even got an email saying, "Oh, deposit this much and you'll be in our VIP." I'm like, "You think I got that in my account, dog? Like, get out of here!" I literally got the email. I'll send it to you if you. I wasn't sure if it
Yeah.
was spam or not.
Send it to me. I want to put Chase in that. That pisses me off that I can't get Chase. What's the odds that they got on Chase on DraftKings?
130 -130.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I like Malik Neighbors at +100. Kittle 2 touchdowns. Should two.
He did not just score again.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he did.
Um. All right. All right. All right. Audible. How about that Ravens game?
How about Marvin Harris?
Marvin Harrison. What?
Do we like him here? Plus
Green Bay?
165?
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too.
He's just got such big play potential.
I know, man. I know.
How about
I think you got to go. I mean, if we're gonna
Saquon?
go to the Ravens game, I think we got to look
We
at.
like we like
I li-
Saquon or AJ? AJ
Ooh,
Brown? 140
hold on. Let me look at
coming
that.
off the hammy.
Wait. Hold on. Let me see the value of this. Do we like that, or do we like to get saucy and do we like Goddard?
I think the focus is going to be back on the receivers if they're healthy.
So who do you
Goddard
like here?
Goddard has been able to make his he's been a big part for them the last 2 weeks when those guys were out. But you saw the start of the year when Devontae and AJ are in, the ball's going to them.
So
And
AJ.
especially AJ. Yeah.
Okay. And then, dude, I want to say something crazy here. Do we go Isaiah Likely plus 300?
That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
I don't understand why he's plus 300 with the games he's had.
I know. I know.
I don't get that at all.
Are we afraid of that game not being a high
Yeah,
scoring game
we
at
are.
all?
We are. We don't touch it. We don't touch it. So do we go?
How about Mike Evans?
I don't like touching the Tampa games, but I love Stephon Diggs to score. What's that? Where's that?
Oh,
You can't even get those.
I like that.
I can't get him. I can't get
Stephon
that
Diggs,
game.
125.
I can't get it. I got to be able to see it. If I
Especially
can't see,
without Nico Collins is going to be out for a little bit too. Or do we like Joe Mixon, 130?
they're not giving it to me on FanDuel.
Mm-hmm.
They're not giving it to me. Mm. Oh no, no. You know what we like here?
We don't like that
The
one.
former Raven, J.K. Dobbins plus 125.
I like that. I like that.
I like that a
I like
lot.
that a lot. A lot.
15 to win 470.
Not a bad day at the office.
I mean, dog. Amar St. Brown, Amara St. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., A.J. Brown, J.K. Dobbs. 15 wins you 470.
Love it.
Love it. Lock it in.
That's we're going
That's
after it.
quality, dude. That's quality. What another great episode of Cold Ones Conversations. We started out sad. We started out with some real emotion here. But you know what? We came out, we gave you the Hollywood and Brendan Bod special, and we're going to keep you updated. We got you coming in here. Again, our picks are going to be out. Follow our picks, tail our picks, and the HTLP, the HTLC, the certainty is Amar St. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., A.J. Brown, J.K. Dobbs. Go Ravens. Trill, take us out.
Yep, shout out 2 and 5. Go Birds. Go check out BSP Media, of course, for all things Philly sports, because obviously it's an electric factory over there. We're making content left and right, whether you hate me or you like me. It's such an up and down roller coaster of emotions. So go over there, check that out. Links in the description. But shout out 2 and 5. Go Birds, baby. Be interesting if they cover this spread. If the Eagles cover that 10 points and we look good, Soupy might be back. Might be back, Harry. Am I
Yep.
crazy for that? Bird v. Bird?
Bird v. Bird is on. Bird v. Bird is on if they win this
They
game.
cover the 10. All right.
If
Peace.
yeah, if they cover the 10.